everybody, it's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and I am not at home. Those of you that saw Stephen and Walter live yesterday know that we are now in Vancouver, BC, Canada. We're on a little bit of a vacation. Well, not a little bit, it is a vacation. We're out here for about 13 days. We're not staying all in Vancouver, but I thought I would talk a little bit about what's gone on so far about our trip. So this vlog is going to be a little different from what you're used to on my usual Monday vlogs. First thing, you've got to get used to my videoing style here because it looks like I'm looking off to the side. I am not. It's the way the camera is, and I can't figure out where to put my eyes. I guess I just need to look straight ahead, and maybe that would work better. I don't know. Either way, that might be a little offsetting. I don't know. As if my face isn't offsetting enough on most days. Anyways, I digress. So I have gone through the pictures and the video pieces that I've taken over the last day. We arrived here on Saturday, which was October. Wow, am I ever out of it? Talking about jet lag. No, let me start again. We arrived on Saturday, April the 15th from Toronto. So the first part of this will be some clips of us at the airport, getting something to eat, killing some time before our flight went out. The flight was very smooth sailing right from the moment when we checked in to the moment we picked up our bags in Vancouver. I couldn't believe how well that went. I was expecting the worst because, you know, Toronto Pearson International Airport before COVID sucked, during COVID sucked even more, and apparently it's still sucking. At least that's what I've been led to believe by the media and whatever other sources I get my information from. However, for us, it was very smooth. The flight was oversold. I think they oversold by 9 seats. They wanted 9 people to volunteer to take a later flight, and if you did, they would give you a $900 check. Yeah, $900 check or a $1,000 travel voucher. Now, I imagine the travel voucher was for future flights with Air Canada. However, we did not take advantage of that, although $900 might have been nice. There has to be more to it than just what they were announcing. And no, we weren't jinxing anything. We were there, we were waiting, we were loading on the plane, we had our seats. Yeah, the hell with these other incentives to not take the flight. So it was a 5-hour flight, saw 2 movies, had a little tomato juice on the flight because there are food services, but you have to pay for everything because this is economy. Okay, a little coffee here. Yes, and I am sitting now in our hotel room, which is essentially a suite. And I don't know how to do a video. I think there's a video here of what it looks like. Yes, there is. That'll be in here as well. Go back to notes. You wrote these for a purpose. So anyways, as I said, we arrived then about mid-afternoon here Vancouver time. Around, by the time we got to the hotel, we took a taxi from the airport. That wasn't a bad price with the tip that we left the guy. It was about $52, and it was about a 30-40 minute drive. Best way to go. We could have taken what they call the Sky Train. The Sky Train is essentially their elevated railway / subway system for about $9 a person. But you know, I didn't feel like lugging my suitcase, you know, up and down a set of stairs to get to the train no. At this age, what the hell? What's $50? You know, for the convenience. And so our driver got us here, and we checked right in, no problem, and we're in a suite. Walter, of course, knew what we were getting because he did his research, as he always does. Best travel agent on the planet, I can tell you that. And, excuse me, a little congested. Vancouver air, sea air, I don't know. Anyways, we didn't do a heck of a lot on Saturday night. We were tired, of course, because, you know, there's a bit of jet lag. I mean, you would think it's only a 5-hour flight, but we are going through a couple of time zones. So for us, when we arrived at the hotel at about 3:30, quarter to 4, it was actually about a quarter to 7 that night, and yeah. So we decided that we would pick up something to eat very quick. There was a gourmet food market across the street called Urban Fare. Those of you in Ontario are probably more familiar, at least in my area of Ontario, with something called Farm Boy, which this is what this is on. You know, basically it's really nicely polished produce and other things at higher than even average prices, way higher. But anyways, we picked up a couple of things there, but we didn't see anything in their hot food servery section, you know, pick up and go, that was really amusing us. So we ended up going to Subway, and where we're located, we're in central downtown Vancouver. We have everything within walking distance to us: restaurants, entertainment, shopping, liquor store. Yes, liquor store. We did go there. And there's lots of fast food places too. So we went into a Subway and got one of their rice bowls, each of us, and that was fine for that meal that night. And then we just tried to basically stay up to get ourselves tired enough that we'll sleep through the night, and you know, when we wake up the next day, we'll have gotten over a little bit of the jet lag. As I said, yes, it's not major jet lag. We've had major jet lag before, like when we've gone to Australia, that kind of thing. So this was nothing. However, yeah, I woke up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got up. Basically, I laid there until about 5, and I got up, and I started making a video actually when I got up for here, and then I realized I'd pushed the wrong button. So I spent about half an hour making this video, and there was nothing to show. And then Walter got up, and we thought, well, maybe we'll try doing a live then. But he suggested we go out first and then come back and do a live then, because it would be closer to the time we usually do our lives in Eastern time. The time thing is a bugger. It really is figuring this all out. Well, you know the result of that, because, well, many of you joined us, which I was really surprised at, for the live. And I'm also surprised at the technology. You know, the last time we traveled was 2019. And of course it was Australia, and our internet connections were hit and miss. And I don't know if that's because it was Australia or just simply the technology of the day in hotels. But right now, I am so impressed with the Wi-Fi connection that I have here in this hotel. It is definitely high speed. No problem connecting to it, and doing the live yesterday, no problems at all. So that's a good thing. I don't know if that's going to continue when we get across to Victoria, to the island. It may still be hit and miss, but we shall see. Yeah, more coffee. So this room does come with, it's not a room, it's a suite. We have a separate bedroom from a separate living room, dining room area, bathroom. Where I'm sitting right now is sort of a glassed-in sunroom. It's small, but it looks right out over the city. I don't know if I can show you, but I'll try. Right here, I just need to uncover it. Bear with me for a second. Yeah, okay, so you get to see my head, top of my head. Okay, let's put that there. And let's see if we can do a camera flip. And I guess I cannot. I do not see any way I can flip the camera. Okay, won't worry about it. There's some clips later on in here anyways. You'll get the idea. Okay, so going back to my notes, because I have all these little video clips all over the place and I want to keep them in order, and my editing system that I'm using is basically iMovie on my iPad, which is not what I use when I'm at home. So please forgive the problems that will probably arise from this. Okay, so I'm going to start the video off with us at the airport in Toronto. We had brekkie there, and then it'll go to the arrival to our hotel and a few things about that and the view out our window at night, because things light up around here. They've got some really cool lighting on the big buildings that we can see right out of the windows from the room we are in. And then I'll talk a little bit about what happened yesterday, which would have been Sunday, April the 16th. There was a big, I didn't know about this, Walter did apparently, but there was a great big marathon run for charity, Run for the Sun or something they called it, which is kind of ironic because so far we have not seen a lot of sun here in Vancouver. In fact, as I'm making this, I'm looking out the window and it actually looks like the sun's trying to break through the cloud cover, but it's not raining. That's good, because since the moment we got here, it has been nothing but rain. We're not going to let that stop us from doing things, however, because, you know, life goes on. Vancouver, that's just typical Vancouver weather. It's a bit cooler than what we came from. It's, I think right now it's about 9 degrees Celsius, or I think it's getting to 9 degrees. I think that's the high for today. When you've come away from it at 21, 22 is the highs, which is also unusual for the area that we live in this time of the year. Yeah, but I'm not going to complain. It's a holiday. So I'm going to show you some things about, so these runners, 50,000 of them, they said. Didn't look like 50,000 to me, but there were a lot. They must have been going at different times. So there's video about that, some other things. We hung out around waiting for the art gallery to open, around a campus part. I don't know if it's the main part of UBC, University of British Columbia, or something that's right downtown. I suspect it's a satellite campus. Don't know for sure. Some shots of some blossoms. I think they were cherry trees, I'm not sure, but yes, things are coming out here in spite of the rain and the cooler weather. We did the art gallery, which you're going to find was very disappointing, very disappointing. Then we did a little shopping. We're looking around in the Pacific Center Mall, a big shopping center in the center of downtown. And let's see, oh yeah, and then we decided to have we decided to do our live yesterday afternoon, so we came back to the hotel room around 12:30 Vancouver time, and went on air a few minutes before 1 Vancouver time, which if you were in the Eastern time zone, where we usually are, it would have been pretty close to the time we usually start our live. I was really surprised. We had a lot of people join up. That was really cool. So we talked about a lot of things about the trip on that. Then we went out for a late lunch. This is what we often do. Instead of having like 3 meals a day kind of a thing, we find that's a little much. We usually pick up a few things for brekkie, like cheese, and you know, we get some bread and things like that. And this unit that we're in has a kitchen, a full kitchen, and it's got all the things you need in a kitchen, like a toaster and that. So we picked up some artesian bread, or artisan, not artesian. Our artisan bread from the expensive store across the street, and that's what we do. And then we go out and explore, and you know, later in the afternoon or so, we'll find someplace nice and have lunch, and really that's dinner. And then if we get a little hungry later on when we come back to the hotel room, we usually have some little munchies laying around and have that. That's usually what we do. So there's a clip here of us going off to a restaurant down in Gastown. Gastown is a very historical part of Vancouver. And it was a restaurant called Local. We were looking for a pub. There were several pubs, but the pubs were not pubs. We didn't like what they had on their menus, actually. Walter, I think, was looking for like steak and Guinness pie and stuff like that. Didn't see that. But we ended up at this one called Local. Walter had fish tacos, which I was surprised that he had those, but he doesn't hate fish as much as I do. But anyways, he said they were fine, they were good. They did look good. Couldn't describe the meat, the fish in it, but we think it was cod. And I had, they call them now pressed burgers, which this is trendy right now. From what I gather, a pressed burger is just hamburger made into a patty, put on a grill, and they just press it down like the way most people make hamburgers on a stove. I don't know, but it was quite good. It was quite good. We had a couple of pints each of beer, and they had sort of a craft brewery beer, and that was okay. And then Walter decided to try and have me killed, as you'll find out in the video clip, when we went through one part of town that maybe we should have avoided. Yeah. And yeah, so that's a lot of the stuff you're going to see on this video if you're interested. Just a word of wise for anybody watching this in the future. This is not a video designed to explain to you all the ins and outs of Vancouver and what we saw and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. This is not a tourist video. This is me basically making commentary about whatever we're doing at that moment in time, and if I remember to turn on the camera. So if you're looking here for a video where you're going to get a lot of information about visiting Vancouver, no, you're not. It's not that kind of video. So, having said all that, let's start showing you a few things. Just one other thing, I just replayed what I recorded, and yeah, the sound isn't the best. It's very echoey because of this room that I'm in doing it. Not a heck of a lot I can do about it. You'll be able to hear it. Sorry about that, but like I said, I am not using my usual equipment for this. So please don't write me comments about the quality of the sound. I know it already. Thanks. Okay, so we're on the first lap of our journey. We are in the airport, Toronto Pearson, and we're sitting here at Twist. And we just got coffee. Thank you. Thank you. And we're just waiting for the brekkie that we ordered here. And yeah, so far it's been very smooth. In fact, so smooth we are here way ahead of time. It is now 9:09. Our flight doesn't leave until noon. I think we can board, or they start boarding you around 11:25 or something like that. Wasn't it 11:25? Yeah, we whizzed through security. Walter had booked it in advance.
But we didn't need to.
But we didn't really need to. There was nobody there. I didn't have to take off my shoes. I didn't have to take off my belt. I threw my bag in the little plastic container and away it went. And yeah, it was so smooth. I'm surprised. Now, mind you, this is a domestic flight from Toronto.
We are here early.
And we're here very early. So yeah, there's plenty of time for things to go wrong. Yeah, give you a little shot of what we're seeing right now. Just around, you can see it's not too busy at all around here. So, but of course, we have much time to go yet. So, I'll check in a bit. So we have arrived in Vancouver. The flight was uneventful. Got to see 2 movies while I was on there, and we're now just checked into our hotel right downtown Vancouver, called the Carmana. Is it the Carmana?
Okay.
Carmana. And this is what our room looks like. So when you come in the front door, you have this seating area here and a little dining area. Walter's standing in the glassed-in, well, I guess this is sort of like I don't know, it's an office space sort of a thing with a view out the window. Show you what it looks like. It is, of course, raining. Yes, well, it is Vancouver, looking up, as you can see. And it's considerably cooler here than it was in Toronto when we left. I think right now it's about 10 degrees C, whereas Toronto's over 20. So yeah, why did we come to Vancouver for that? This is the kitchen though. We do have a kitchen. I'm just looking for a light switch. There we go. So you have a full-size refrigerator, sink. There is a dishwasher. We have a stove as well and a microwave. So basically, if we want to do any cooking of any sort or heating something up, well, we have an espresso. Looks like we'll have to slum it with an espresso. And those of you that watch us regularly know why I say that. But that's nice. And yeah, it looks nice and comfortable, centrally located, within walking distance for most things that we may want to see. The bedroom. and TV in here as well. So yeah, this is our little home away from home for the 3 days that we're in Vancouver before we trot off to Victoria. So, show you more later. So we just discovered that where we are in the hotel, you see that the buildings light up at night. This one across the street from us, which is called the Paradox. Now there's a little bit of glare on the window here, but you can see the lights, you get an idea. It's pretty dramatic looking. Vancouver at night. So it's 9:01 on Sunday, April the 16th, and this is looking out our hotel window in Vancouver. And you can see it's another bright, shiny, humid, hot day. Not typical Vancouver weather, drizzle. And it's about 8 degrees C at the moment with a high of possibly 9. There is a big thing going on today down there in the street. If you can see where there's people. And there's a big marathon run for the sun or something.
10K.
It's a 10K run, and it's called what?
Run in the sun.
Run in the sun. There's something ironic about that, don't you think? So yeah, they're all there. They got streets, their street blocked off, I guess. We saw a bunch of wheelchairs going by at one point. Walter called them cheaters. And they must have a separate time for starting, and there's more. There's something like over 10,000 people?
50,000.
Oh, well, that's over 10,000 as Walter says, and I stand corrected as usual, over 50,000 people. Well, I don't see 50,000 people at the moment, so they probably all have staggered start times or something as well. So yeah, looking about here, the Keg restaurant down there below, and just down there below again is that market we went to and picked up a few things at exorbitant prices. Of course, it's one of those gourmet markets, right? Other hotels around. This one's called the Paradox. Interesting building. Way up, looking way up, and I'll call Rusty the Rooster. And we'll get a chair for two of you to curl up in and call friendly. Yeah. So yeah, so we're about to venture out. And we're going to go to the museum, the art museum, and there's a big mall somewhere down in here as well. It's the kind of day that you want to be sort of indoors. However, the rest of this week is supposed to be raining too, and tomorrow we do want to go to Grenville Island because there's lots of markets and artisans shops there, and there is a fabric store there as well that I wouldn't mind checking out. And yeah, so this is the start of the day, and we may try to do a live we're thinking about later today. The internet connection to this hotel is actually pretty good, and it's free. Okay, so just as I was saying, you can see a whole bunch of them running. There they go, running like the wind. Not particularly a nice day for something like this, but well, whatever. And there's probably more coming along, as I said. Probably goes in waves. And here's a little aside. Although the weather is not the nicest, it is April in Vancouver, you can see there are people still enjoying the pool and the hot tub at this place across the road from us. So yeah, I guess, you know, don't let rain stop you. Okay, so we're out and about, and it's drizzly, and we're just walking down to the art gallery, but it doesn't open for another 15 minutes or so. And this is part of the UBC, University of British Columbia campus. They have an ice rink here by the looks of things, except there's no ice in it right now, of course. Yeah, so I don't know what else happens down here. Yeah, mall's not open till 11. And yeah, so we're just seeing what we can see. I dropped my brolly. Walter's picking up my brolly. And yeah. Of course, I got talking here about the UBC and forgot to show you this. Blossoms on the trees right now. Be nice if it was sunny out. Okay, So I am sitting in the Vancouver Art Gallery. General admission for one person is $29. And yes, it is recording this time. I just did this whole thing a minute ago and it didn't record. Yeah, and so Walter's calling me an idiot. You know how that works. I have to say, don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. It's not worth it. It's a big building, has 4 floors, only 3 you can see anything on. An awful lot of Inuit art, which was interesting in itself, but it seems to be focused on mainly one Indigenous artist. And then there was another Indigenous artist of some sort with a musician and traced her life from the 1960s to present day. Lots of wall space, nothing on the walls.
Not even any kind of like paintings that are like from this area that were like in Ontario there was a group of 7 and stuff like that, but they didn't even have any kind of.
I mean, this is right downtown Vancouver, and you'd expect a heck of a lot more from it, especially when you're paying for it. I mean, if you come to Oshawa, okay, check out the Robert McLaughlin Gallery. It's free and much more interesting displays, and they change on a regular basis. The permanent collection that changes out once a year features Canadian artists. They have a group of 7 there, and I'm not saying that you have to go to a Canadian art gallery and immediately see group of 7 or anything like that, but it's just really sadly curated. I don't know, lack of funding, what? Very disappointing. Now there was one display, some artist had a special exhibit here. It was interesting. You'll see in my pictures, they were these really weird imaginative characters. But that was the most exciting thing, quite frankly, that I saw in this art gallery. Now, when we first came in, they had a display called Hard Edge or something, and it was abstract painting, very linear. I did take a few pictures because I thought some of those would make interesting modern quilt designs. But overall, the best thing I can say about this art gallery is that it's dry, meaning because it's raining outside right now and it's, you can get in out of the rain. But not for $29. Not worth it at all. Quite frankly, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0.5, yeah, that's how uninteresting it is. And I'm sure there'll be people out there who will turn around and say, well, you just don't understand art. I understand what I like, and I used to volunteer in an art gallery, and no, I do not have a background in fine art, but, this was a waste. Wouldn't you say, Walter?
Yes, it was. It wasn't worth the money. I mean, if it was $5, I'd say okay, fine, but like for $30.
It's definitely
29.
Yeah, 29 a person. One more point: if you go online and check out their website, they have pictures that make the art gallery look very, very interesting. Those must have been displays they've had here before in the past, temporary ones, because we didn't see anything like that whatsoever. Like I said, the closest we saw to what they might have on their website was this one display with the figures, the very imaginative figures. Yeah, disappointing. So I'm just going to interject a little bit here right now about the art gallery in Vancouver, which you just heard my commentary about it. Well, I'm going to show you some pictures. I did take a few pictures of things. When we first got in there, I saw some abstract art, and it gave me ideas for a modern style type of quilts. So I took a few pictures of those, and I took a few pictures of the Inuit art, or indigenous art that was there as well. And then there was a special display, which you heard me say in the commentary was the best part of the whole thing, and that's not saying much. But I just thought you might want to get a feel for what it was that I was talking about and what we saw.
Pacific, what do we call it? Pacific Mall? Pacific Center shopping mall, basically, essentially. Just were in the Apple store. I picked up a little accessory while I was there. And, you know, looks like a typical mall as malls go, so. Some more shots of the mall. Okay, we're in the Bay in downtown Vancouver, and they have a Zellers store, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a Canadian icon that went out of business and Target took it over and revamped all the stores, Target, and it didn't do well. So now they're trying to redevelop Zellers as a store within a store. So they're putting Zellers into Hudson Bays, and we're going to check this one out and see what we see, but I'm not expecting much. Okay, so it's really hard to tell whether we're in the Zellers part or the Bay part. The only thing that really distinguishes it are these bold red signs, and they still have that sort of discounty look in here that Zellers used to have. Zellers wasn't really a discount store, but it was the forerunner to things like Walmart and that kind of thing. And I don't know. It's just stuff that's a little bit less expensive, but really, I don't think it's going to last. I don't think they're going to be able to fool people with this kind of thing. I mean, they're coming up against Walmart. And crap is crap. Okay, so we're out on the streets of downtown Vancouver. We're heading towards Gastown right now. We're about a kilometer or so away from that. We're going down there to find a place where we can have lunch. This is April the 16th, Sunday afternoon. We'd already been out earlier today. We went to the art gallery, which, as you know, if you've seen that video, that was a disappointment. Looked around at the big mall that's down here as well, and the Hudson's Bay Company. And so, yep, we're going down to historic Gastown, which is basically, I guess, one of the first settlements when people came to this area many, many moons ago and started establishing what is today modern Vancouver. I thought I'd take a video of this. We're sitting in a restaurant down in Gastown called The Local, and the sun has come out. Now, we don't know if we're going to see that for very long, but that's why I'm shooting this video right now, to show you that Vancouver can have sunshine, but I don't think it's going to last at all. This, by the way, would be a nice place to come and sit on the patio. They have a huge patio area, and it's pretty big in here too. And Walter just had fish tacos. Ew, ick. And I had a Diablo burger, which actually was very, very good. I quite enjoyed what I had. And yeah, we were looking for a pub, and we seemed to have discovered that what we consider to be pub, as in pub food, the ones that we looked at on their menus didn't really have what we would consider pub food, like, you know, steak and Guinness pie or that kind of stuff. And we wonder why that is. But maybe there's an American influence because a lot of tourism or something, or maybe that's just what they do here. Pubs maybe are more of a thing in Eastern Canada. I don't know.
So we just came back from a very late lunch, and on the way back, this was down in what I already showed you in the video, the Gaslight District. Walter decided to take a different route to come back to our hotel. And what do we walk up? Well, a street called West Hastings, which is where all the homeless hang out. And they just had a big problem there. It was on the news a couple of nights ago where they went down, the police went in and cleaned out all the homeless, and there was sort of semi-rioting and protesting and the whole bit about that, which that's a discussion for another day. But, you know, I kind of side on the protester side on that because, you know, you can move homeless out of these areas, but, you know, you need to have an alternative for them, and they don't seem to have any. But at the risk of getting political here, so we walk down that street. Scary. Very scary. Okay, there's lots of yelling, there's hollering, there's people who are bent over double, some that are shooting up, a lot of marijuana smoking. Not that that's a big deal in Canada because it's legal for anybody to do that anywhere in Canada. Yeah, not the nicest area. I'm just glad that it wasn't nighttime when we were going through there. So note to us, and especially to Walter, let's stay on the beaten track, shall we? Let's not take a little detour.
I thought it was more west of that.
Yeah, you thought wrong, didn't ya? So anyways, we lived. Just another experience on our trip.